still taxes people with abandon. Canadians still do not have a national identity. And living right next to it, I can tell you that Iowa is just as boring today as it was a year and a half ago. And 20 years after recognizing same-sex relationships in Scandinavia, there is some evidence that there are actually higher marriage rates for heterosexuals, lower divorce rates, lower rates for out-of-wedlock births, lower rates of sexually transmitted diseases, more stable and durable same-sex relationships, more monogamy among gay male couples, and so far no slippery slope to polygamy, incestuous marriages, or as one of our senators once memorably said, man-on-dog unions. None of that so far. Third, recall the Burkean objection to abstractions. It's true that some same-sex marriage advocates, the ones who get, I think, the most attention in academia and in the press, speak in very abstract philosophical terms about the cause. But gay couples and families are not abstractions. They are not people who just happen to live under the same roof. They are not people who are joined together only by their shared commitment to Michel Foucault. They are part of our lived experience as a nation. Fourth, is gay marriage really such a radical change being thrust upon us suddenly by impatient activists and courts? Well, other reforms in marriage over the past few decades really did seem to have affected marriage much more comprehensively. Think, for example, of no-fault divorce or of the rise of women's legal equality within marriage. These reforms affected, potentially, every single marriage, and did so, potentially, directly. By contrast, gay marriages will be an incremental addition of perhaps 3% in the number of married couples. These couples have been growing up around us organically for decades. They are not the top-down creations of government bureaucrats or radical visionaries. We have arrived at the point we are at by incremental steps, by glacial changes in marriage and in the treatment of homosexuals. Consider an analogy. Michael Oakeshott, who was another major figure in modern intellectual conservatism, thought that the most cogent reason to enfranchise women was not their abstract natural right to vote, but the fact that, as he put it, in all or most other important respects, they had already been enfranchised. Technical enfranchisement, which was his word for it, was at that point a comparatively small step to correct a lingering incoherence in our treatment of women. Are we at the point where gay marriage is in most functional respects already here, so that sanctioning technical gay marriage, as Michael Oakeshott might have put it, is the next obvious incremental step to correct the lingering incoherence in our treatment of gay families? Given the numerous and enabling shifts that we have seen over the past few decades, I think we are. There is still room for reasonable disagreement among Burkean traditionalists, but we are surely getting to that, closer to that point. And with that, I've probably taken up far more time than I should have, and I appreciate your patience for listening.